Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Paige Bueckers' girlfriend.
And I'm Azzi Fudd's girlfriend. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at WomensSportsWeeklyPod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at WomensSportsWeeklyPod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on The Les, which is our listeners' experience zone.
We got another Pride gift.
This might be the best Pride gift I've ever received.
We knew it was coming.
Yes.
We have a rule on this podcast. We try very hard not to come out for other people. We want them to do it on their own terms. And finally, Azzi Fudd has given us what we've all been asking for, which is the confirmation that we can talk about her and Paige Bueckers dating.
Yes. There's been hints along the way. Obviously, her sitting at the table at the WNBA draft, and then that little TikTok trend that they did that all couples do. And then over the weekend, Azzi Fudd posted a picture, and on the back of her phone case, it said, Paige Bueckers' girlfriend.
We love it. There were so many hints. Shout out to the TikTokers who do the dirty work and zoom into all of their interactions, and then you see them all together and you're like, yes.
Or when Azzi Fudd was wearing a number 5 necklace a few weeks back and people went off on it. There's some good investigative work.
I know that sometimes it can be frustrating to come out and they're probably like, do I really have to do this? Like, maybe I'll just drop some hints, but you got to give it to us straight in order for us to truly understand.
For sure.
Have you ever dated or had a crush on a teammate before?
Yes, you.
Oh.
If you are a new listener and you don't know the story of how Carolyn and I met, we played on a bar softball team together. And the second you walked up with that bat in hand, I don't know what it was, but I was crushing hard from the start.
I love that.
But that was my first case scenario. How about you?
No, I never have. But like now looking back when I was growing up, not so much in high school, but definitely travel ball. There were like a couple of girls who I was like, thought I was just really friends with. But it was probably more than that. I just wasn't willing to admit it.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. I'm thinking like pre-high school as well, and now you're ringing a bell in my mind for some people that I forgot about. Yep.
I feel like every gay girl is like, oh yeah, no, I wasn't romantically involved with anyone, but I definitely was obsessed with this one girl and we were best friends. Like,
and we exchanged storybook texts every day.
I love that so much. But I in college just ended up dating a person on the soccer team. I just switched my teams. It wasn't very encouraged on any of the women's sports teams to date someone on your team because we did have people dating on our team in softball and it did cause some drama. It's kids dating and that's what happens. But yeah, I just tried to switch it up and find a different team. I am a cleat chaser. So, and then I met my own wife in softball.
You did.
And my sister called it. She said, you're going to like her. And I did. So here we are. I'm Danielle Bryan's wife.
And I'm Carolyn Bryan's wife.
But it sounds like Daniel Bryan and that's my brother and my dad. So I'm not my brother and my dad's wife. I am Danielle's wife.
Yes. And we met over 10 years ago at this point.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
And we still love each other, right?
We do. Very much. And we're still playing softball together.
True. I know we haven't given a Barbies update. The Barbies are doing well this season.
Knocking on wood. We are in first place right now.
Yeah, we're crushing.
It's been fun.
You know what I think was the key for the Barbies is we have more than one pitcher and people who are like, it's really hard to find slow pitch pitchers. And I get it. I would never want a slow pitch because the ball can come at you very fast. It's also a totally different dynamic. You have to have a certain arc on it and it's got to land in the right place. There's a lot that goes to it. I think it's a really, really hard job. And this year we have like multiple pitchers, which has made a huge difference.
It's been fun.
Also this weekend, we're back with better sound this week. So we just need to address that. Sorry about the sound last week. It is hot now here in Denver. And I think when we got started, we had the air conditioning on, so it was a little bit off. So we apologize. We will be testing moving forward, but we're so happy to be in your ears, crispy clean.
Yes. But this past weekend, we finally went on a hike. I feel like we just have not hiked at all in so long. And I wanted to camp this weekend, but we couldn't make it work with our schedule. So we were like, we have the full day, Saturday. Let's find a hike outside. It was over 100 degrees Friday and Saturday. So Saturday we were like, let's wake up early and get to the mountains. And we went up in Nederland and it was so beautiful.
I've said this before, nature cures all. If you're in a bad mood, if you're feeling any type of way, just getting outside, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fresh air or just noticing how small I am compared to the mountains and the trees around us, but it just makes me feel so much better. And the opportunity to see water. We did a nice lake hike. It was just great.
I love the mountains, love getting out there. If you're in the Denver area, Nederland has a lot of cool hikes. And we got pizza at Crosscut afterwards, and that pizza is good.
Not a sponsor, but we'll shout them out. Do you want to tell the listeners what we saw on our hike?
Oh my goodness. We hiked with two friends and we said to them in the beginning, Nederland is known for moose. Like I've always heard people seeing moose up here. So we were walking up the mountain and a young man stopped us and was like, you know, I see you have a dog, just so you know, we saw moose up there. So we were on high alert, but we didn't end up seeing a moose up there. And then we had half a mile left in our hike and we're just on this open trail and I hear ruffling and I look to my right. And at first I think it's two deer because we saw so many deer on the drive up. Then I realize I'm looking at two baby moose and in front of them is the mother and behind them looked like a teen moose because it didn't look full grown. So there's a mother, two babies, and then another adult.
Meese.
I scooped up Scout so quick because I saw her. She had eyes on them. They were, 10 feet away from us, if that? I don't even know if it was 10 feet. The four of us froze and I had Scout in my arms. And all of a sudden they start picking up pace and the one moose starts cutting across
to the trail.
I start running with Scout in my arms.
Where am I? Frozen. Still on the trail.
And I feel so bad that I just left you, but I just was in full panic and had Scout. I've heard stories recently that people have run into mother moose with their babies and have gotten attacked.
Yep. You don't want to cross a mother anything in the wild.
And we've gotten charged at a moose in the past. So we're always on high alert. We somehow always see moose when we're hiking. I don't know what it is. To see four together that close and the babies look like full grown deer. And then you realize they have a hump. They look different. But when I first saw, I was like, oh, dear, no.
And you don't need to feel bad about leaving me because I am horrible in a high stress situation.
Well, that's why I shouldn't leave you.
I just freeze. I don't know what to do. I freeze and I just stare and I hope that maybe I'm so frozen that they think I am a pole. I have no idea. I just look at them and then I kind of scurried away, but I definitely didn't run. And the one moose who was trotting at that point and coming onto the trail, I was like, this might be it, but I'm just going to stay here because my body cannot function.
I did turn back and I would have run back for you if the moose started charging at you. I would have, I don't know, Scout and I would have had to figure something out. But once we were in the clear away from them, my right leg wouldn't stop shaking. I was so freaked out.
All in all, though, it was still an amazing hike and cool to see. And our friends were happy that they got to get some moose action. But yeah, we are the moose attractors.
I know. I wish I could have got pictures, but we were way too close.
Way too close.
We were just trying to protect ourselves.
For sure. This week, Run Club is not going to happen. We do not have Run Club this week. We'll be sure to post on our socials as well. This Thursday, when we get into our looking ahead, we'll talk about it. But the U.S. women's national team is playing in Denver. The 99ers is going to be filled,
for that game.
Packed. And we don't want to interrupt that, as well as we are going to be out of town for a part of it. So we're taking this week off and we will be back the following week and we'll provide you all updates about that. So no Run Club this week. Don't go with a secret word. Go and support the U.S. women's national team either at the game or at the 99ers.
Yes. And with that, let's get into the highlight reel for this week. What do you have for us, Car?
Let's start with the NWSL. Last Saturday, Gotham played Bay FC, and Gotham beat Bay 2-1 in this match. This was a middle of the pack game. It was the 8 versus the 10, Gotham being the 8, Bay FC being the 10. And for Gotham, Rose Lavelle is back. She came back in the beginning of June after she was out from an ankle injury and then subsequent surgery. But this game was the first time that she started since being back from that injury.
It was definitely good to see her back on the field. She's one of the OGs, one of my faves, so I was happy to see her back out there.
Bay FC scored first with a goal from Penelope Hocking in the 11th minute. It was an interesting goal because Ann-Katrin Berger, the goalie for Gotham, was pulled out, and then it looked like Penelope Hocking took 3 different touches in order to get it past her and finally into the goal. So Bay FC took an early lead, but then Gotham responded with a goal in the 30th minute from Esther Gonzalez, who is currently the Golden Boot leader with 10 goals on the season, and we're pretty much at the halfway mark. She is the fastest player to score 10 goals in a single season in club history. She just finds her way into small spaces and then hits the ball so hard to score, which is exactly what happened here. It was tied 1-1, but then Gotham put it away by scoring in the 55th minute with a goal from Jace. This ball came from the back line, and Jace was just able to dink it over. What I noticed most about this game, besides Rose Lavelle being back, is that there were 26 fouls called in this game, and there were 5 yellow cards. So there was some tight officiating. It was physical, and Gotham got the win. Also, what I really noticed in this game, are you going to let me have like a moment?
I know exactly where you're going because I remember the moment in the game that we talked about it.
So it was hot out there. These players were sweaty. They're wiping off their sweat, and they're doing it by lifting up their shirt and wiping the sweat off their face, which TikTokers out there, I just need that in slow motion because every time they lift their shirt up, they get just like pictures of beautiful abs of these women.
Washboard abs.
I know. And we were like, fuck. Yeah, I just love it. I think if there wasn't so much violence towards women and sexualization towards women, it would be nice if they could play with their shirts off just so I can admire.
Yeah. But to be fair, if a man was saying this right now, we wouldn't be too happy about that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive.
Oh, I just love it. ESPN Bodies magazine is my favorite magazine. I just want to view someone's body. Like, they work so incredibly hard for their sport, and to see what bodies look like for specific sports, I think is just so amazing. Like, a swimmer's body looks different than a soccer body, and a basketball body looks different than a swimmer's body. And I just think it's really cool, and we should be able to see more of it. Okay, that's my moment. Thank you. What do you have for us this week, Danielle?
So it's been a while since I've actually been able to sit down and watch my Seattle Storm. And finally this weekend I did, and I watched them beat the Las Vegas Aces 90-83.
What is happening with the Aces?
Yeah. Of course, this was a late game. We've talked about we go to bed early. So this game started at 8 p.m. Mountain. So this was an iPad in the bed type situation.
Did I see any of this game?
You were snoozing.
Hardly.
I think there was a minute left, and I said to you, I was like, it's 88-83. Do you think Las Vegas could come back? Because I can't keep my eyes open anymore. And you were like, no, turn it off. And the next morning I was a little nervous, but they won. This was Alicia Clark's first game on the Aces court this season since signing with the Storm. So she was on the Aces in years past. Now she's on the Storm. So it was a return to her former team's home court. The fans really gave her a warm welcome, which I just love to see. The Jumbotron at the start of the game when she came out on the court played some of her greatest moments with the Aces, and she was tearing up watching it, which just warms my heart.
Yeah, that's like some of the good. There's so many great things about women's sports, but the welcoming back and the love that fans continue to have for specific players, I think, is one of the many things that makes it so special.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. Seattle Storm, this was definitely a team win for them. They had a lot of big contributions from various players, which I always love to see. Nneka Ogwumike had 25 points and 12 rebounds. Skylar Diggins had 24 points and 6 assists. Gabby Williams added 18 points and 12 rebounds, which was her first career double-double in the W, which was really cool to see. And then Erica Wheeler had 17 points, 10 of those points in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
You were sleeping next to me, but I kept saying to you, oh my God, Erica Wheeler's on fire. As a reminder, Erica Wheeler was on Indiana Fever last year, so she's obviously new to the Storm, but just cool to see how they have been gelling. And I feel like Erica Wheeler kind of got shadowed over a lot of players when she was on the Fever, so to see her go off during this game, I really enjoyed that. And then the Aces, some of their players had great games. You have Jackie Young, who led the team with 22 points. And then Asia Wilson, this was her first game back after being out for 3 games due to concussion protocol. There have been a lot of injuries across the board.
And a lot of concussions.
Yeah. But she also led the team with 22 points and 14 rebounds. So those two, both with 22 points. And then rookie Aaliyah Nye scored season high of 13. She had a standout game. I feel like every time they showed her, I was like, whoa, that girl's playing well. And I don't know her as well as a lot of the players. So good for her.
I also think this rookie class, across the board, they're putting up big numbers where rookie of the year, that conversation, there are so many options for who it could be for rookie of the year.
I agree, because at any given moment, a rookie just steps up and plays really well. I have to say, this was a close game. I was definitely nervous throughout the game because of how close it was. And the Aces have so many good players that it honestly confuses me that they're not doing better this season. And at halftime, the Aces were actually up 45-38. So again, close game. While the Aces lost, A'ja Wilson still made league history this past Friday night. It was her 78th career 2010 game, surpassing Sylvia Fowles for the second most in league history.
So 20 points
and 10 rebounds.
Got it.
So that's a big stat to have 20 or more points and 10 or more rebounds. Tina Charles currently holds the number 1 spot of this stat with 103 games. But if A'ja Wilson continues to play the way she has been playing, she is on course to surpass Tina Charles.
But Tina Charles isn't done yet. She's still playing out there.
I know, but they think that A'ja can surpass her at this point. And the reason they're predicting this is Aja's currently averaging 20.8 points and 10.1 rebounds per game. So she's literally on track. Unfortunately for the Aces, this is their 3rd straight loss. So that's kind of a blow to them.
What do you do if this is a bad season? What changes do you make? You have the best player in the world. You have a coach that's won multiple championships.
Yep.
What do you do?
Well, here's the thing. All the teams look different, right? Because there were so many trades. And I can't even say this is a building year. I think all the coaches are like, what do you do, honestly? Because with the CBA, I think all the teams are going to look different again next year. So this year's kind of a weird season. I just don't know.
Yeah, but somebody's got to win this season.
Oh,
like,
I know
it's a strange season, but...
Yeah, I don't know how you make adjustments to that. They have a lot of good players. They're just struggling.
And I'm like, was it Kelsey Plum? Was she the glue holding it all together?
There's other players too, like Alicia Clark. I think that team
Sid
just
Colson
gelled really well together. So, I don't know.
We'll see what happens for the Aces. Maybe they'll prove us wrong. We get proven wrong all the time.
Season is not close to being over yet.
Let's do a little ad for ourselves. Please rate and subscribe to our podcast. We love doing this and would like to continue to do it. We create, produce, and edit the podcasts ourselves. So if you want to support us, rate, subscribe, give us a positive review, and share with the people you love. It means so much to us if you do that. Thank you to everyone who has rated the podcast. If you send us a screenshot of your 5-star rating, we will send you a Women's Sports Weekly sticker. And I have seen that our ratings have increased a little bit, but I haven't gotten screenshots. So send me that screenshot and we'll send you out a sticker.
Yes, thanks to all of those who have already done that. We appreciate it.
All right, let's get into our deep dive for this week. This was requested by my sister, Allie, and she wants us to dive into Athletes Unlimited softball.
Yes.
And we are going to do that because they are in the middle of their season. So for some context, Athletes Unlimited, or its abbreviation AU, is a women's professional sports organization based in the U.S. that administers competition in basketball, softball, volleyball, and used to do lacrosse. It was founded in 2020. The interesting thing about Athletes Unlimited is that the league has this format in which individual players win the league. It's based on stats, so whoever has the best stats for the week then chooses their team for that week, and then they play, and then teams change every week based on stats, and then you choose the players you want. It's kind of like kickball style in the sense of who gets picked last.
It's like backyard sports.
Yes, that's exactly right. But this Athletes Unlimited softball league, they used to do that, and then they created this new league called Athletes Unlimited Softball League, which just has traditional teams. It is not what you think of other Athletes Unlimited leagues. This softball league is different. In June 2024, Athletes Unlimited announced the softball league, and it is making its debut this year in 2025. Cat Osterman, who was actually the 2020 Athletes Unlimited Pro Softball Champion, so in the old format, and Jessica Mendoza and Natasha Watley all came in as advisors for this new softball league, and Jennie Finch is also an advisor, so a great group of former players to come in and kind of design what this league is going to look like. And then on top of that, Kim Eng is the first commissioner of this Athletes Unlimited softball league. She joined in April of 2025. And the reason why Kim Eng is so important is because she is an executive and she was the first woman to serve as general manager of a major American men's professional sports team, which was the Miami Marlins. She joined at first as a senior advisor and then was named commissioner of Athletes Unlimited.
Wow.
So powerful backing between the players and having someone with a ton of experience come in to be the commissioner. There are 4 teams in Athletes Unlimited: the Bandits, the Blaze, the Talons, and the Volts. There are 16 players on each team. This first season is not city-based. They are actually touring in cities, and they're visiting 10 different cities with the hope that in 2026, it will be city-based. So the teams will be located in cities. But for this first one, they're doing like a tour and going to multiple cities and playing their games there.
It's kind of like Unrivaled, where they stayed in one city, but all the players were together. And I think it would be cool if Unrivaled picked up this format, so people didn't necessarily need to travel to them. But I think it would be a hard work with all the theatrics like that they
the visuals.
do, in that stadium in Miami. But just a thought.
People do concerts and they set up amazing visuals.
Yeah.
There were like 3 things that they would have to set
Sure.
up and get down.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It's interesting because the softball league, they're touring cities that are known for softball. So they're not necessarily the most popular places, not places that you may go and visit as a tourist. But if you like softball, they are places that attract a lot of fans. So they're going to places like Rosemont, Illinois, and Chattanooga, Tennessee, of course, Norman, Oklahoma, Seattle, Washington, Salt Lake City, Utah, Tuscaloosa. So places that have an established softball presence is where they're headed.
Seattle and Salt Lake, people are going to visit on their own.
Yes, that's true. But not all of those.
Correct.
Wichita.
Sulphur, Louisiana.
Yeah.
No shade.
The Athletes Unlimited regular season runs from June through July and has 24 games. And then they are still doing the player-based season. So after this Athletes Unlimited softball league ends, they will have a 4-week season in August where 60 professional softball players will compete utilizing the previous rules.
That's cool.
So you have the regular season that happens from June through July, that's happening now. And then in August, you'll have that 4-week season for them to compete individually.
And that's taking place in a few different spots as well, it looks like, right?
Yep, that will take place in Rosemont, Illinois, Raleigh, and Greenville, North Carolina.
Cool.
I think why I'm hopeful about this league, there are a couple reasons why I'm hopeful about this league. One, ESPN signed a multi-year media rights agreement with AU to broadcast its softball league, and now these games are more readily available. So you turn on ESPN, we have the ESPN app. Likely there is an Athletes Unlimited softball league game on. We've been watching a lot of it. On top of that, in May of 2025, the MLB Major League Baseball announced a strategic investment in the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. They are going to support their sales, marketing, events, digital reach, and content. And then they're also going to have the Athletes Unlimited softball players featured in MLB's All-Star Game and on the MLB Network. So I like this because the MLB was thinking that they may start their own softball league. And instead of doing that, they went with something that already has some momentum and started to invest in there. And it's not like the WNBA where the NBA started the WNBA. It's more that this league was started and then the MLB invested in it because they saw its worth. So I like that idea better. The other reason why I like this is because they've been doing this now for years and have had years of planning of what could this look like to be successful. The average salary for the players is still very low. It's $45,000, but it's $45,000 for 2 months of playing.
Okay.
So that's something to consider. But we do need to still fill that gap for the other months of the year. And so these players can get paid. You know, LA Olympics is coming up in 2028. There needs to be a pipeline.
Yeah.
And the Women's College World Series proves time and time again that people will watch softball. So how do you make it more readily available and how do you give it the proper investment it needs so that players can make a living and do this as a profession? I also really appreciate that they have the players' perspective in it with former players as senior advisors and then a players committee to provide feedback And then they have smart executives and strategic partnerships. Like all of these things are brewing together. And we've had softball leagues before that have failed, but it seems like now is the time. There have also been hockey leagues in the past that have failed. There have been soccer leagues in the past that have failed. And it seems like the NWSL and PWHL have found a way to figure it out. So like, I really hope we can do this for softball, because I remember in high school, and by no means was I good enough to go pro, but my parents were like, you're not going pro in softball. There is no option. There's not a sustainable option for you. So keep that in mind as you think about what's important to you in the long run.
Yeah.
And I remember having those conversations because there wasn't a next step after this. So you got to just really love it and just know that you have to have other interests as well. And you have to put more eggs in other baskets, because that's what's actually going to take you further in the long run. So I hope that this changes for Athletes Unlimited. With just 4 teams and 24 games, they're going to be playing each other a lot.
Oof.
But it's kind of like Unrivaled. There were 6 teams in Unrivaled, and we see now this expansion happening across all leagues. We see it in the WNBA. We see it in NWSL. We're seeing it in the PWHL that started small. I think it's smart to start small.
For sure.
And then build from there, and then hopefully get more roster spots. But if you watch Athletes Unlimited, you're going to see so many players you know and love. Sam Landry from Oklahoma finished out her season and got picked right up to be on a team. So you're going to see the best hitters and the best pitchers in the world playing in Athletes Unlimited. Games are back in action on Monday, July 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2, with a doubleheader beginning with the Bandits versus the Volts and then the Blaze versus the Talons. So please be sure to check it out.
That's exciting. Speaking of games coming up, we will transition to what we are looking forward to this week. What do you have for us, Carolyn?
As I mentioned before, the U.S. women's national team is back in action. They will host Ireland in a pair of friendlies. The first match is this Thursday, June 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and this game will be played in Denver.
Very exciting.
It is so exciting. We hope you will be there, and it will also be played on TBS, True TV, and Max. The second match is on Sunday, June 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it will be shown on TBS, True TV, and Max. What are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to the WNBA Commissioner's Cup, the final, which takes place on Tuesday, July 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern on Amazon Prime. It will be a matchup between the Minnesota Lynx and the Indiana Fever, and I believe this is the Indiana Fever's first time making it to the Commissioner's Cup, so big deal for them. The Minnesota Lynx are the defending Commissioner's Cup champions, and it's their second straight appearance in the championship game. Although the Indiana Fever are not the best in the Eastern Conference, based on their overall record, they did have the best record within Commissioner Cup games. So it's interesting. If you were to look at their overall record right now, there's teams ahead of them. But for the games that counted towards the Commissioner's Cup, their record was the best in the Eastern side. So should be a fun game to watch. Check it out.
Who do you have winning?
The Lynx. How about you? Wow.
I don't know. It depends how rigged it is.
Oh boy, conspiracy theorist.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I think the Lynx are the better team. So yeah, we'll see. I think all eyes are going to be on this game, as there are all eyes on everything the Indiana Fever do, because Caitlin Clark plays for them. So it's definitely going to be a fun event to watch.
For sure. That's it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch women's sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.